Ladies and gentlemen, our voices were heard. Yesterday evening, Global Community Manager Dan Mitri released an early look at the December 4th patch coming to Battlefield 5, which of course is the start of the Tides of War with the Overture chapter, and he confirmed that the time to kill would not be changed from its current state. The article also revealed a bunch of other changes coming to the game as well, so let's break down everything we have so you know what's coming next Tuesday. We might as well start with the information we've received about the time to kill and time to death, arguably the hottest topic in the community at the moment. All of this stems from a few mentions late last week on social media. Players have been discussing this a lot, and no doubt DICE has seen what's being said and the opinions being expressed. Most players are currently against a TTK change, specifically an increase to the TTK. And instead, many players think the DICE team should be focusing on the time to death and the bugs there, fixing damage feedback. That's where you die extremely quickly, you can't react to being shot, and also is sometimes referred to as a one-frame death. It's now been confirmed that the December 4th patch will not include any changes to the current TTK, but will include some smaller tweaks and balance changes to specific weapons. This is, I think, the outcome that most players expected of the first patch to Battlefield 5. Weapons like the KE7 for the support class, that definitely needed to be rebalanced, and as a group, the SMGs for the Medic class do need some attention. They feel very weak at the moment. And I'll go into detail on some of those weapon balance changes later on in the video. The article also went into further detail about DICE's future plans when it comes to the time to kill and the time to death, stating they are closely linked. Now, the team has acknowledged that there are some issues at the moment of players dying too fast and players becoming frustrated because of that continually happening. Now, as a solution, DICE is proposing that instead of having wide-sweeping TTK and TTD changes in patches, and the community just simply deal with that when those patches launch, instead we will see a line of communication open up and testing of an updated TTK system in the near future. This is quoted from the article. We want to propose any TTK model changes to you, the community, and involve you in testing experimental changes with the goal of improving experience and creating deeper gameplay potential. DICE is making it clear here that they are seeking to find a position overall that suits newer players and veterans at the same time, so in the future that could lead to what they say a perceived slower TTK. Now, the key word there is perceived. Until we start to see DICE test any potential TTK changes, we won't know what that position is, and whether it really is a slower, longer time to kill, or whether it is just a small tweak to make everyone happy. On the point of testing, Dan's article brought in a comment from Florian Drunksy. He's a core gameplay designer at DICE Stockholm on this topic, and he confirmed the following. As part of Battlefield 5's live service, we want to involve you in experimenting some changes that we believe could improve the overall experience and create a deeper gameplay. The first experiment we want to run is a TTK change that we will be measuring closely soon. This TTK experiment may take the following shape, but may change as we're still investigating how to approach. It may be proposed to players in-game by rolling out the new TTK changes globally to all players connecting to any server, whilst adding a new playlist accessible through the server browser where players can play the old, or as it currently is, TTK to compare the two experiences side by side. Now, considering the mentions of TTK changes surfacing last week, and the fact that so many players appear to be enjoying how it currently stands, this outcome is perhaps the best one we as players could really have hoped for. DICE heard the feedback, they took it on board, and they've come back with what I believe is a much better scenario, where instead of blanket changes being applied against what most of the community actually wanted, we have a system where new values could be tested and tweaked alongside the current TTK, and results of those then compared to what is currently active. This is a much more open, clear method of updating the game and improving it for every player, and it sets a great standard for how DICE as a studio should be communicating moving forward. Battlefield 5 is using a live service update system, and with that I believe needs to come more frequent, clear communication with the community. This article here on Reddit, I've linked it down in the description if you want to read it, goes into detail about how DICE plans to find a good spot for the TTK, but also reiterates their commitment to rooting out bugs associated with the TTD at the same time. It's not some high-level fluff article that just says, we're working on things. It actually dives into proper detail that dedicated players of the game will actually appreciate. I mean, I certainly do. I'm just glad we've landed at a point where DICE is open to working with the community to improve the game with us, rather than standing above and dictating to us, the player base, how the game should work moving forwards. I'm not saying the community should have 100% control of the game's direction. This is still DICE's game at the end of the day, but we are the group playing the game, and we're the ones who want to enjoy it. I'm glad we arrived at this conclusion rather than a blanket TTK change so soon after the launch of the game. Now, outside of all that TTK and TTD talk, the article Dan released actually covers a whole lot more of what is coming in the December patch, but not everything. The full patch notes document will arrive on Monday, the day before the patch releases, but in this article we've got details on revive mechanic fixes, medic class balance, general weapon balance changes, smaller than a massive TTK change, and a little bit more as well. So let's dive into all of that now. Starting off with the Medic class and its SMG balance tweaks, one of the classes that really did need a little bit of love from the development team. DICE is going to be increasing the muzzle velocity and reducing the bullet drag of all SMGs in the game to allow for more consistent ranged combat. They're also increasing the 5-hit kill range from 25 to 30 meters and the accuracy of all SMGs whilst aimed and standing still. This should hopefully fix a bunch of those enemy hit 99 moments and result in fairer and more consistent gunfights. The slower rate of fire SMGs really struggle with range combat, and now hopefully this should allow them to compete more closely with assault rifles and light machine guns when you're in the effective range of an SMG. The Medic is also seeing some changes to its revive mechanic, or a fix I should say. A few delays were still present after the revive animation finished playing, where a player couldn't take back control of their soldier. Those have been fixed, and the whole revive system should now feel a little bit snappier, and of course this applies to buddy revives as well. The actual speed of the revive animation hasn't been changed in this patch, but it's something that DICE is keeping in mind for the future if these fixes don't fully improve the experience. Moving on to general weapon balancing now, and the KE7 is highlighted as a weapon that really wasn't performing as DICE intended, so the horizontal recoil is being increased from 0.36 to 0.45, and the recoil buffer specialization in its specialization tree is being removed and replaced with quick aim. This should mean the weapon will no longer be the laser beam option that it's been since the launch, and it might push players to try some different weapons other than sitting bipoded behind cover headshotting people for days. I've been killed so many times by the KE7, and it's one of the weapons that really highlights how bad the time to death experience is in Battlefield 5 at the moment. Sometimes you can be shot by the KE7, receive so much damage in such a short amount of time that you literally have no time to react. That's the one weapon where I've really noticed the TTT bug, so the fact that DICE is doing something to try and rebalance this weapon should help with the TTD a little bit, but of course there are still bugs there that need to be worked out. All of the assault rifles, the light machine guns, the medium machine guns, and the submachine guns have had their 4-hit kill range increased from 9 to 10 meters to make close quarters damage more reliable. The Turner's SMG semi-auto rifle has had its one headshot, one body shot kill range reduced from 35 to 30 meters. The Gewehr 1.5 has had its 3-hit kill range increased from 25 to 30 meters. The Tommy gun's max damage has been reduced from 30 to 25.1, and the max damage of the Sturmgewehr 1.5 and the STG 44 has been increased from 24 to 25.1. A consistency change to all bolt-action rifles in the game, removing the reduced damage multiplier to the lower body, will mean that they always do a minimum of 55 damage, and pistol damage drop-off distances have been slightly increased. I've also got an update here on dragging down teammates. This is not something we're going to see in the December patch. Quoted from the article, DICE is still investigating feasibility around this mechanic, which sounds decidedly different from "you will be able to drag soldiers into cover" statement that we heard during the marketing campaign for this game. It'd be extremely shady to now not include that feature in the game at all, having used it to essentially sell the game to potential players. That's going to make a lot of people unhappy, and it's not even mentioning it being one of the most requested features in the game anyway. So if it weren't to come to the game, then, you know, it really would be upsetting a lot of people. I can understand if the mechanic didn't really help improve gameplay, but considering how many people die out in the open, and when I say open, just a few meters from cover, it sounds like it could be really helpful to just drag them behind cover and then revive them. For me, that would definitely improve gameplay. But the statement that DICE has given in this article really doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. And lastly, a few smaller bits to wrap up the video. An apply all button for weapon skins is being added in this December patch, removing the need to click the same buttons about 50 million times to make your weapon all one skin, so a GG on that one. And the airlifts included in the Deluxe Edition have been detailed. We finally have some information here. 20 airlifts will be delivered over the coming weeks, although you might have already received some of those airlift items. 1 airlift per week, and they will include 2 emblems, 13 different weapon skin parts, creating 2 separate weapon skins, 2 sidearm skins, and 1 soldier uniform set. The messaging in-game for these airlifts is non-existent. For some reason, no one thought it was a good idea to differentiate them from standard unlocks in the shipments tab of the armory, so for now, a lot of people don't know what they've got from airlifts and what they haven't got and they are still waiting for, but DICE is working on a separate blog for airlifts that's going to explain a little bit more. But to me, this just sounds like a feature that was rushed into the Deluxe Edition without really much thought being put behind it. Why could all of these rewards for purchasing the Deluxe Edition not just be handed out in one go at the launch of the Deluxe Edition, like the 5 soldier veteran outfits that were included with the Deluxe Edition? Why did airlifts need to be a separate thing at all? It just doesn't make any sense. It's just another thing to chalk up on the list of things not to do the next time you launch a Battlefield game. Make things easy for players to understand. Don't have 3 different launch dates. Don't segment the community and the player base by giving some of them 11 days early access, some of them 10 hours worth of access, some days 5 days or whatever. You're just pissing off the community. Just make things simple. All you did with Battlefield 5 was give potential buyers more reasons to be annoyed at your video game. Don't do that in the future. Make things simple. As I mentioned at the start though, this is not the entirety of the December patch. We of course have the Panzerstorm multiplayer map, the practice range, the Last Tiger war story, vehicle cosmetic customization, and a bunch of new weapons to use as well. Full patch notes will drop on Monday, so I'll sift through those for you and likely produce a video on anything this article didn't mention. But for now, let me know what you think of this patch down below in the comments section. I think the TTK situation is a big win for the community, and it shows DICE is listening, but perhaps you don't agree with the stance. Let me know down below. Thanks very much for watching today. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications by clicking that bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.